The Dallas Cowboys came away with the biggest steal of the 2026 NFL Draft, landing star safety Caleb Downs with the 11th overall pick. Downs was my number one overall prospect in this draft class, and the consensus board wasn't much farther behind me, putting him 4th overall behind Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, and Jeremiah Love. So how did one of the few blue chip prospects in this draft class fall all the way down to 11? It's yet another example of positional value getting in the way. Nick Emanwori was a transformational piece on Seattle's Super Bowl winning defense last year, but wasn't taken until the 35th pick in 2025, despite an all-time combine performance on top of promising film out of South Carolina. He's not the only example of a safety being undervalued and having an immediate impact either. Brian Branch, Jalen Petrie, Xavier McKinney, and Javon Holland, these guys were all second-round picks who went on to have big impacts in the secondary of their respective teams. Even Minkah Fitzpatrick, viewed as a generational safety prospect of the time, fell to 11th back in 2018 and has gone on to make 5 Pro Bowls with 3 first-team All-Pro honors in the NFL. Downs has the chance to have a similar kind of impact for the Cowboys in the NFL. A 3-time All-American, national champion, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, Jim Thorpe Award, and the kind of player that Downs really is. We're going to dive into the college football playoff film against Miami in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube. Give us a follow on socials at BestAvailableYT. And a huge thank you to all of our members. If you'd like to support the channel and consider becoming a member, I'll leave details to that in the episode description. Let's go ahead and dive into this Downs film. I'm really excited to show off some of this. Really excited to dive into this tape with you guys. Downs is one of my favorite players in this draft class. Again, number 1 on my board for a reason. I genuinely feel like he is the best safety I've evaluated, and I've been super high in the past on guys like Budda Baker, Jalen Petrie, Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think Downs is better than all these guys coming out of college. Kind of a no-brainer as far as a freshman All-American in Alabama, goes on and becomes a tremendous player at Ohio State. And you'll see why throughout this tape. I know Ohio State loses this game, but I don't think it can be underestimated how impactful Downs was throughout this game. So we've got Downs here, creeping into the box. We're going to have run. He's going to have to pursue backside. You can see he feels outside zone. We got this outside zone concept here. And Downs reads that he's got to fill over, right? That's a tough assignment. Backside safety in the box. He's got to take the right angle, wait for the right moment, and you can just see, because he's so quick, it's a nice job by the rest of his teammates staying on their blocks to allow Downs to fill. But Downs, not only that, what I love is it's hard to see from this angle, but he's throwing his whole body without losing any momentum here. He's not slowing down. He's throwing his shoulder into that contact. From the other angle, especially from the broadcast, you can see Fletcher, the running back, takes an awfully big shot here. But what I love more than anything is just how quickly he reacts and responds to this. So as we get this running, just watch immediately. It's not big outside zone steps from these linemen, but the footwork here is outside zone. So the fact that he's reading through the blocks and can just key this so quickly, diagnose it, get in the right spot, and then just throw his body. The technique may not be great as a tackler here, but I promise we'll get to that. But what I really wanted to just show you is how quickly he reacts and how unafraid he is at the point of contact. For a quote-unquote smaller safety, I've seen so many of these guys kind of like pitter-patters. They get close to the ball carrier or just try to throw a shoulder. The fact that he's coming in at full speed shows me how he's wired. The post-snap processing from Downs is bonkers, and I wanted to show you it here. We've got this 2-man route concept right here with these two, and it's going to be just kind of like a double post almost, it looks like. I thought it was going to be a dagger at one point where we get one of these. But we're going to essentially have Downs focus on any in-breaking vertical threats. So he's going to be kind of bracketing this concept. We've got outside here, and then the safety's reacting to, who's potentially going deep. So we've got 1, 2, 3 on these two. And what I'm blown away by is we're not even going to be looking at the ball going towards either of those two receivers. I just want you to pay attention to Downs right here and how this is just some freakish instincts. I don't know how he's seeing what this play is happening, but you can see, his shoulders are turned. He's waiting for an in-breaking threat that he can break on. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Both these guys are going vertical, so he just feels like, all right, nothing's happening here. These guys are going to pick up these two receivers, and I'm going to peel off and look for a threat in the middle. And that's exactly what we're getting. We're getting C.J. Daniels in breaking route here. So you can see Downs feel that he's not needed anymore on this route concept. He spins, peels off. Then he's trying to locate the ball, which is understandable. His back was turned. He realizes the ball's already out, quickly diagnoses that the wide receiver's right in front of him, and then just makes an awfully nice hamstring tackle. And I love his tackling technique. I will show it to you on the back end of this, but let's just run this again real quick so you can see the instincts to peel off there, relocate, look for the ball, not there at the quarterback, look and find the wide receiver. I just want you to pay attention again to the tackling technique. It's my favorite trait about Downs. So here you go. Ball's out here. Look at how low he gets. His head is to the side. He is wrapping up at the hamstrings. This is textbook tackling technique, and it's all over his tape, man. It's all over the tape. Every time he makes a tackle, he's staying low, he's wrapping up. When he's got momentum, he'll drive his legs through contact, but you don't see a lot of tacklers get that low as defensive backs, and it's his superpower, in my opinion, as a tackler. Because he's always low and he's wrapping at those hamstrings, no matter how big you are, when you can't unlock speed or power moving your hamstrings, it just brings you to the ground, and Downs is so damn good at that. There really isn't a whole lot to this one, but I really did want to show it because the coach in me just absolutely loves how Downs, coming off the edge, again, smaller safety prospect, they are comfortable putting him at edge and run support because he's so damn physical and so technically sound. Again, what he's doing on this play is not really going to matter for the context of the play, but when I'm watching and evaluating a prospect, I care a whole lot about how he takes on blocks as a smaller guy. Too many small defensive backs will get tossed out the club trying to play up near the box, but instead, we're just going to run a kick out from this fullback. Shout out fullbacks. We always got to make sure we give them a shout out. But as this play rolls, you're going to see the entire goal of this fullback, who, what a stout man. He's what, maybe 5'4", 300. That's a dense person that's about to try and kick out Downs. But what I love from Downs here is the technique. Look at how low he is getting into that contact. Maybe his base is a little narrow, but you can see his hips are corked. And that's something I talk about on this channel all the time. When you're taking on blocks, you have to be able to launch through your hips into contact to stack that blocker. If you don't, and you just put hands on him and you have no force, you're getting kicked out this way. But instead with Downs, he's got that low pad level. He's uncorking his hips. Look at that contact he makes. Like, I know he gets washed out a little at the end and the play's not going his way, but as far from a technique standpoint, I could not be happier with how he takes this on, where it's a clear size advantage, but he is just uncorking his hips into that contact. This is not, I fully understand that for a lot of people, they won't care about this, but this is the kind of competitive player that the Cowboys fans are getting. And it's not showing up on the stat sheet. It's not even showing up on this play. But it does show up throughout his tape. When he has to take on a block and constrict a rushing lane because he's playing off the edge like this, he can absolutely do it, which is crazy for a guy of his size. Downs is off screen to start this one, but this is a great example of his open field tackling. It's hardest job as a safety in football. We've got him right here at the top of the screen. When there's a ton of space and a ball carrier is coming your way, you need to close down those angles as fast as possible. It's called filling the alley as a safety. It's a really hard job, right? Because as you get here, the running back can go so many different ways, and so your goal is to try and close that space before they commit to a move to lessen all of these angles. What I love about Downs here, not only is he doing that, he's understanding where his leverage is. He does not want to over pursue this. That is the number one thing he can't do in this open field tackling situation. Why? Because he's kind of the last line of defense on this screen. Matthews is losing his outside contain, but he's trying to hold it. This defensive back should have outside contain. So at the very least, if he doesn't make the tackle, by keeping this inside leverage, he can kind of funnel, I believe that's Malachi Toney, towards these other defenders. So we want to try to corral him, right? So we don't want to over pursue. That's the number one thing we can't do in this alley defense. But what I love here, Downs starts gearing down. He's trying to keep his shoulders square to the ball carrier. He's keeping his head up. He's not overcommitting. He's holding that inside leverage. And then as soon as he makes that catch point, get low, wrap at the hamstring, forces a fumble, and Tony's very lucky to pick that up. But if we show that in all one fluid motion, just how smooth he is as an open field tackler. And that tackling technique, man, I kept saying it in my evaluation. He tackles like a national champion wrestler because he's not the biggest guy, but he consistently brings down ball carriers because he just does that, like the takedown move that like collegiate wrestlers do. And it just consistently shows up on his tape regardless of who he's trying to tackle. We'll try and be a little critical here and show you just, there's not a lot to not like about Downs, but there are times where he can get a little over his skis, especially as a blitzer against the run. Like, great job keying this, blitzing from depth. I love all of that, but he gets so excited sometimes as a blitzer that when he, is able to get to the line of scrimmage, he will dip his head with momentum at times and just kind of whiff. And it's hard in this situation because like Fletcher is awfully big, and I don't think it's the worst whiff I've ever seen. But there are some examples of that, lack of length. He is a little bit smaller. Those examples of that, because you might see on his like Pro Football Focus numbers and anything, the missed tackle rate's not is not indicative of a guy that's supposed to be an elite tackler. But still, in my opinion, when he's not over his skis or overexcited as a blitzer, he's just such a fundamentally sound tackler. So here's another good example of that fundamentally sound tackling technique. We've got Downs here on the top left side of the screen. We're going to one of those now screens can be a really dangerous play when it's not picked up correctly by defense. We've got Downs here. It's about as open field tackling as you're going to get. He's keeping his shoulders square to the ball carrier and to the line of scrimmage. He's keeping his eyes up, and then Tony's trying to run through him. Low man wins, and Tony is a tiny dude. For as talented as he is quite small. Look at how much lower Downs is getting here. Then he just meets him with a wide base. We talked about that when he was engaging that fullback, launching his hips into that contact, letting the rest of the teammates get there. He stonewalls this dude. And if you watch it again in all one fluid motion, just look at how he just stonewalls. Like he's so fundamentally sound. He's so comfortable with that, launching your hips into the point of contact, whether it's taking on a block or meeting a ball carrier. It is probably that in the tackling, man. I can't get enough of from a prospect like this. It's just so sound and a breath of fresh air when you watch so many kids that are whiffing like crazy in their tackling techniques in this. I need to get all the way zoomed out for this one so that I can show you the kind of rush packages you can use with Downs. Now, Downs wasn't used a ton as a blitzer, and why would you need to? He's so sound as a safety, and you've got so many other talented players on this Ohio State defense, so I wouldn't be worried about blitzing Downs a bunch either. But this is just an example of how you can use him and influence a protection. We're actually going to have a 5-man protection here. Tight end and running back are both going out on routes, so what you're going to see, you can't see Downs, but he's over here. Sorry, I can't draw an arrow. Over here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 with Downs in the slot, and then you're going to see Reese creep up. So then we have suddenly what we think is a 5-man rush with Downs in the slot, but he's also blitzing. So we're going to influence this offensive line a bit. We're going to move. The center is going to call out a slide. So you can see it. He puts his left hand up like he's calling the call. We would call this in this situation, if it's 3-man slide, center slide, left guard, left tackle are all sliding. This would be a lucky call. So we're just going to go lucky, lucky. So what it does is we're going to go zones on the left side. Just kick out, and we're picking up people in here. And then with this 5-man protection, we got man on here and then man on here with Maui Noah and Kenyatta Jackson. So that should be all picked up if we got the numbers right. And then the quarterback's job is if we have that 6th rusher that's not accounted for, we got to throw hot. So you will see as soon as this ball is snapped, you can immediately see the center, guard, and tackle are all kicking left. We've got that one-on-one matchup here, and then Maui Noah is trying to get a vertical set to prepare from this wide alignment to pick up this. So in theory, this should be picked up. But that's where Downs in the slot comes in. You can see his arm right there. Because we have a 6-man rush, it's not accounted for. And in fact, Reese, who was initially walked up, is bailing out. So that's why the center's head is back turned. We got this correction wrong. It's still a 5-man rush, but because we disguised it correctly, apologize, it's a 6-man rush because we have Styles now rushing. So we bailed back the guy that was mugged up. We're rushing Styles instead. And then we're trying to pick that up. Downs has a free rush. This is the kind of rush that you can run with Downs as a safety. And it does rush Beck's process a little bit. I got to give him some credit for reading hot. Like, hey, we've got that extra rusher. He's not accounted for. We got to get the ball out. But this is the kind of stuff that rushes his process. It's effective. I know Downs doesn't get a pressure here, but I wanted to show, like, this is a fun blitz concept that you can run. And I think Dallas definitely has the personnel now to run with Downs at safety where you can try and get him to rush after the quarterback as well. One of the hardest jobs in football, we talked about earlier, that alley defender. You are the last line of defense, and if you don't bring a ball carrier down, the play's over. It's a touchdown. You're screwed. So we got this. Fletcher's got that open space, and Fletcher's a big back. I think he's 220, 225-ish. Downs, you can see here, because of that broken tackle. Last line of defense, buddy. He can go here, he can go here, he can run through you, he can try and bounce out. There's a million different things he can do here. And so if Downs does not bring him down, it's a touchdown. So Downs is going to keep that base wide, and then you're going to see again, get low, head to the side, wrap at the hamstrings, bring him down. It's so nice to have a guy like this in your defensive secondary where you know, like, this could be an explosive play, and it's still a successful play for the offense. But you've got a guy like Downs that can bring him down to prevent what could have been a touchdown. This might be my favorite play from Downs and a great example of those instincts in coverage. It's so fun to watch him diagnose as a coverage safety. We've got this too high look to start. Downs is at the bottom of the screen right here. And so you're thinking, maybe it's cover 2 man based on this alignment. We've got a guy over the number 2 receiver in the slot. But what it turns into is more of a cover 1 look where we've got, these guys trying to funnel inside, holding outside leverage. We've got man-on-man here. And then Downs from this too high look is going to go middle of the field or a robber roll where he's just eyeing the quarterback, trying to get in the way of throwing windows, let everything funnel inside to him. So as we roll this snap, you can see immediately that he closes in. He's looking robber. Definitely looks like a cover 1 to me. I think this guy just loses his release and is trying to hold outside leverage from the way he's stacking here. Man here, man here. I'm guessing cover 1 with a whole robber roll. And you can see Downs immediately reacts to where the ball is trying to go. He's like, okay, I'm filling middle. Tony is open. They're throwing this quick slant. And he just throws his face into that to force the fumble. Now, awfully lucky by Tony to get that ball immediately back in stride. Pretty incredible. But I love the concept itself and just how quickly he diagnoses from that robber to be like, yep, the ball is going there. I'm closing on it, and I'm attacking the football. Let me show you the end zone angle of it as well. All right, so we got Downs right here. You can see him stepping into that roll. He sees the quarterback's eyes. He looks quarterback's eyes, sees him looking that way. He looks at the route combination, goes, yep, that's where the ball is going. So he triggers and then just throwing that face right into that football. I don't think you could do a better job than that as far as breaking up a pass. So fun to watch Downs, man. Just watching him process in real time like this is just such a breath. NFL teams, I need you to do me a favor. Try not to put wide receivers on Caleb Downs in the run game. It just doesn't work. He's just too damn physical for that. So you can see he's stepping down here against the run. We're going to try and block him with number 0. And he's just like, nah, easy. I'm just going to fill. You're not going to do anything into me as I slant inside and play this run. Because he just wants it more than you, man. He's going to slant across your face, body you at the point of contact, and then get in there. He is so unafraid of getting his nose dirty. I repeat, do not put wide receivers on Caleb Downs. You're going to see this one. We're going to motion Tony inside. Downs is here behind Reese and Kenyatta Jackson as we motion this in. Tony's not even paying attention at this snap. And Downs is like, oh, I see blood in the water. He's the one that's going to insert block me? Yeah, have fun with that, buddy. Look at him get low. He's doing that wide base, uncork his hips into contact. We've now talked about that multiple times in this video. And this is why you do that. Because he just bodies Malachi Doney, fills exactly where the running back's going, and then just wraps him up, lets the team get around him. Are you kidding me with this? This is like linebacker stuff we're seeing from Downs. Just one more time. I got to show it one more time. Just absolutely dominates Tony, gets in that alley. This is the kind of player we're talking about. I hope Cowboys fans, I'm sure you're already fired up about the selection, but you have a newfound appreciation and understanding of what this guy can do. He's super instinctive in coverage and moves really well, but he's also just a dog against the run, whether it's filling the alley, open field tackling, or playing off the edge and getting his nose dirty. This is a guy that can do so much for your defense. I love that he lands in a team with Christian Parker and all these corners that are, big body, want to be ball hawks. I'm so excited to see how he plays in this defense. So let me know in the comments what you think. I'm sure, again, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're thrilled, but let me know how you feel after watching this video. And if you made it this far, please subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all the support, guys. We'll be back with our Packers rookie preview on Thursday. Very excited to start doing those weekly episodes. And then we're going to talk about Arch Manning on Friday. Maybe QB1, and I think there's a lot of stink on him for how the season started, but I'm telling you, he's better than you think. We're going to dive into that on Friday. Thanks for watching today's episode, guys. We'll see you later. Take care.